The Golden Door is about 5 young immigrants who came across the Atlantic Ocean in 1903 with the hopes and dreams of becoming new Americans. I actually came up with this idea when I was teaching French in middle school. It was my day job back in those days. It just kind of, became this great sort of one-time success, and 20 years later, I happened to just randomly mention that I had written this musical. Andrew said, "Wow, that's a great idea. You should run with that."
What drew me to the project is that I've always enjoyed musicals, and I've never had the opportunity to write one. So I was really excited at the opportunity to try something new.
And then we talked, and at the end of it, I said, I'm gonna get money for that. That's too good of an idea not to do. And I started going out and seeing if I could raise some money to get behind the project. And in the meantime, we got a group of students together and got into the studio and did a couple of demo tracks.
The casting process is a collaborative effort. Actually, the original cast that we started workshopping with about 3 years ago were my students. And I made an announcement at the end of class one day, and 5 of my dancers came up, and they were basically the original core cast. Freedom. And you're looking up, so freedom, slow turn, it's not.
We're really thrilled with what we got, especially in light of some of who our characters were. We were very, very fortunate to have people walk in the door that you just look, well, that's Marie Louise right there, definitely.
So my character is Marie Louise. She is from Paris, and she's the only character in the show who isn't excited about coming to America. We kind of follow her journey from not wanting to be there, wanting to go back home to Paris, and accepting her new life in America. I mean, it's about acceptance, not only of other people, but also of your own circumstances in life.
Jeremiah is ship deckhand, and he meets all the other characters by working on the ship. He's the jaded one of the group. He is the black man who has experienced the racial prejudice that America has to offer. Jeremiah talks a lot about his history and his cultural history. I find that deep connection just with being a black man and having to experience prejudice every day in the smallest, minuscule form, and even in a huge form.
I play Yael Lieberman. She is a Russian immigrant Jew, so she was actually forced to leave her country. She sort of tells an older story about her ancestors having to leave from previous lands, and now she's saying that she is now part of the story, that she now has to flee her country. It still holds a lot of relevance today. I think it's just a beautiful story about why people have to flee their countries.
And I play Patrick O'Halloran. I relate to the character 100%. I mean, I am a loud, gregarious kind of person. So he's kind of like the gregarious character, very positive, very welcoming to all of the people on the ship, and he kind of acts as the glue.
Giuseppe is from Italy. He came here on the boat with the Irish. His character is very smart and very academic. He keeps a journal with him all the time. He's always writing things. He's very observational. It's a story of hope, really, and opportunity, and I think it's such an important subject nowadays. And I've found that it's a great story of, having the opportunity to start something new.
The story just kept getting bigger and bigger. Michelle Scott and I sat down together and essentially collaboratively built the arc. It went into a workshop this past fall, and it's been fantastic.
It's very much a workshopping of a show. The cast has a huge input.
Everything is ever-changing, and you come to rehearsal one day and the script is different, and you're like, okay, right, just kind of go for it, and just kind of deal with the changes.
It's really unique and kind of a fabulous experience to get to be on the inside of how a musical is written and how it is kind of built up from the ground level.
And in 2 years, a talented young person can potentially grow a great deal.
This workshop process, I think, gives them the opportunity to work in a way, and they're part of bringing the energy that's bringing this amazing thing to life.
But everybody's been really wonderful to work with. They're a great cast and enormously talented. And they've been very generous with their time and their talent.
I've learned so much in this experience. I think it's a really unique experience to take on a role that's never really been done before.
It's crazy to think that like now these characters are being developed into scene work, and now we're getting into transitioning through a show and through an act.
I've had a big say in making my character, in finding out sort of her character arc of the show.
I tend to have a hard shell sometimes, so just like opening up and Jeremiah gets to go through that every night. That's something that I just want to take with me.
The outcome of the workshop is an intermediate draft, so to speak, so that we can show it to some people and then get their feedback. The Golden Door is being created by independent artists, but all of these artists have an affiliation with Point Park University.
I just feel so privileged that Point Park was willing to support us so enthusiastically with this project.
We're a good partnership because we give the students an opportunity to participate in a process that is unique. The workshop experience of a brand new work is a rare opportunity. I think it's symbiotic in the sense that we benefit each other.
You really have to let your imagination flow. You can't, if you constrict your mind and think that once we do something, this is the way it's going to be, the process is going to be much more difficult. But if you're very open to it and you can take suggestions and take different notes and such, the process is so much easier. And it's a lot more fun too.
And if a few historical details aren't right, it's going to be an honest mistake. We're trying to get all that stuff right. But mostly we want it to be emotionally true. And that requires a lot of introspection and a lot of, frankly, conversation. Just really kicking stuff back and forth and finding out what really feels right and what feels true.
The work is magnetic, and every rehearsal we have, I get excited about getting home to work on the next piece.
I want people to care about this. I want them to be entertained, but I want them to care.
You have to be willing to take risks, and you have to be willing to push yourself past what you, in your mind, believe you're capable of doing.
We need set design, we need costume design, instrumentation, and orchestration. We will need to do some fundraising so that we can bring this to life.
Once that's completed, then the real heavy lift begins. How do we then take this idea and get it so that people can come and see it?
And it's an inspirational process that just feeds me. Not one of us could make this happen on our own. That's the message of the Golden Door. We all need each other.